and welcome to Fathoms Deep, a Black Sails podcast from Common Room Radio. I'm Liz Stevens.
And I'm Daphne Olive, and we are so excited to have our very own cinnamon roll here, Tom Hopper.
Hello. The cinnamon roll has arrived.
Now that's the sound bite that I want.
There you go.
Exactly.
And now you have it. So, Tom, yes, I've understood that you have not really listened to our podcast. So we have a lot of listeners who are really amused right now because this has nothing to do with you, but there have been times when Liz has joked a bit about Billy needing baths.
It's true. We have a pretty big running joke on, is it a joke? A running something on the podcast where I talk often about bathing Billy.
It's true.
So we might have to tease about that a couple of times throughout the episode. Hope that's okay.
Okay.
I think
is that in season 4? Is that
No.
across all seasons?
No, I like to kind of follow Billy throughout the seasons and just see when he needs a little scrub-a-dub. Right now I'm enjoying the scruff a little bit, so maybe a nice little shaving session could be
Absolutely,
fun.
yeah. Like you go to a proper barber and get a nice hot towel wet shave or something. That'd be great.
That's exactly right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I remember. It's funny because there's certain points in the show that I remember thinking like Billy got scrubbed up really quickly. Like when he came back from being captured by the English, and he came back and he was all burnt and looked, like a real mess. And then all of a sudden he's got this new jewelry and has, he's all cleaned up and he's like,
yes.
Now his sunburn has kind of tanned over and he just looks kind of glistening tanned.
I think that's because of Dufresne. I think Dufresne had been collecting jewelry for Billy and was like waiting for his return, be like, Billy, you're back. Let me just present you with the things I've been collecting for you because I just like you so much.
We always thought that season 2 Dufresne had like this kind of secret love for Billy, and like he all of a sudden like hugs him when he arrives back into Nassau, and we're like, why does he hug him? It's like, he just loves the guy.
Yeah, he loves him. I mean, I actually have my Fathoms Deep interpretation of what happened there. If you'd be interested to hear,
I'm very interested.
Okay, so I decided that Dufresne feels this connection to Billy because of when Billy encouraged him to board the ship the first time that they took a ship, and that Dufresne, that this was this really traumatic experience for Dufresne.
Right,
So he had to kind of latch on to this being something that connects him to Billy because Billy's so beloved. Yeah. That was my interpretation.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's interesting about this as well is that it's another time that Billy's kind of creates a monster. It's another time that he's by doing that puts something into.
I hadn't thought of that.
Puts something into someone and makes him do. Empowers him.
Right?
And,
yes.
It creates a bit of a monster in Dufresne. So yeah, again, it's like Billy's got. He's always trying to do the right thing, and then he just creates these monsters left, right, and center.
That's
right. We call him a kingmaker a lot, but I hadn't thought about a monster maker too. But absolutely, he did it with Dufresne.
Wow.
It may have been before. Yeah. Wow. How did we miss that? This is our entire job.
I know. Thanks, Tom. That's awesome. Actually, I love that.
Okay, look, that's what the cinnamon roll's here for.
Yeah. Well,
he's more than just a warm, gooey center,
He is,
absolutely.
Clearly.
You know what's funny, right, about this? I've never had a cinnamon roll. I don't even know what.
All right, Tom.
Yeah.
Next time you come back to the U.S., for real.
Yeah.
That needs to be the first thing you do. Yeah, they're quite good.
Well, here's the thing. They can be awful.
I reckon she'd be like screaming at me right now saying, how have you not had? Because I don't think she even knows that I've never had one before.
Wow.
But she would definitely have had a cinnamon roll. Like, she loves her sweet things. So I'd be very surprised if she doesn't have one.
Yeah, if you can get one warm from somewhere, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like something cellophane wrapped in a store, you don't want that. But like if they're offering it
So
at
like
a
a
breakfast
freshly
diner.
baked cinnamon roll.
Yes. From a diner, cream cheese icing, this is what you want.
Cream cheese icing?
Cream cheese icing for the glaze. My personal, like a glaze, not the thick icing,
Right.
but the one that's just like, it's in a warm, gooey puddle of sweetness and that little bit of tang. It's going to be good. You're going to like it.
It's just right. It's very Billy Bones.
That's right. It's very Billy.
Well, was.
Too sweet, too pure. Was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
Well, was. Yeah.
Yeah, before you got all bear claw on us.
I know. So yeah. So did you end up looking at the hashtag? Would you like me to read you? I think I noted I noted my favorite things about the pastries that Billy now is in people's eyes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Not your interview. This
all right.
Is nice. I like
what?
No, I'm just laughing at this ridiculous interview where we talk about bathtubs and cinnamon rolls.
Tom, welcome to Fathoms Deep, where we go back and forth seamlessly between actual content and silliness. This is what we do.
Yes. This is what I love. Well, so hang on. I've got my phone here. So
excellent.
What's the hashtag I need to look for?
Okay, it is BB Pastry, hashtag BB Pastry. It was a totally impromptu game because that whole cinnamon roll thing that happened with that video was hilarious.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And
okay. Excellent.
So that was actually the one who sent that tweet that you had to read out on that video for Black Sails is one of our listeners.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah.
That was a hilarious moment because I was like, because that is actually
it's a thing.
Term, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
I was like, how have they even come up with that? Like, Billy Bones is like a cinnamon roll.
Right.
Too good for this world. I was thinking, is a cinnamon roll too good? I don't know.
That is exactly what you said.
It was a real thinker. I think it was what I said.
Well, it was from this little, there's a... what is it's the Onion, right? It's from the Onion,
I think
which
it is
is like
Onion.
It's fake news and it's always hysterical. And so one time a headline for the Onion was
who was
the
it?
Cinnamon roll. I think it said cinnamon roll is too good for this world, too sweet, too pure.
Right.
And that was it. Like that's the whole. It's like a headline.
So, and someone listened to that and went, Billy Bones.
Yep. Well,
exactly.
Come on, seriously. I mean, up until season 4. But
that's season 1 for
that's true, because that was the other joke that we always had running, is that Billy Bones was my husband. Right. So I was always like, don't say that about my husband, because he's like the only one who's of any kind of marriageable quality in the beginning of the show. Like this is the only guy you can actually.
So now I got to say, okay, all right. I'm going to read you. I'm going to read you the ones that I wrote down. I wrote down 4 that are my favorites, and then I actually want to talk about why Billy is no longer a cinnamon roll. Then that will segue perfectly into cinnamon roll no longer. Okay, so these are, we asked people for pastries and explanations. Our friend Kim, Tom, can you do me a favor and just say hi, Kim, real quickly, because she really, really likes you.
Hi, Kim.
All right. Kim, who's at Clara Cottage, said, our Billy is a croissant because he had big brown arms to hold you and is kind of flaky now.
Oh, I like that. Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Kim is a good wordsmith. She actually came up with Fathoms Deep. That's how she named us. Yeah. All right.
She's like the PR queen. Yeah.
Yes, she is. Mm-hmm. At Wine Dark Sales, chocolate lava cake held up for 3 seasons as Flint poked him with a fork until resentment gushed out.
That's excellent.
See, they're good.
They're pretty good.
Our people are clever and funny. We love them.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, Silver Sue O'Shandy. Some of them have pirate names if they're.
Yeah, I give people pirate names.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So said he's a day-old donut that's fallen on the floor. Still looks good enough to brush off and enjoy, but should you? Okay, and then. At Charlie 1877, who started this whole cinnamon roll one, she's the one who sent that tweet, and her pirate name is Chum Bucket Charlie. She says, Billy's a king cake because Mardi Gras and irony.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now I would like to talk about Billy's darkness, and we've had a lot of people weigh in about this, and it's really interesting because Liz and I, in the progress of the podcast, didn't really see any darkness in Billy in the beginning, and we kept saying, when's he gonna become that guy? When he's gonna become this guy? But
right,
then,
the guy we meet in Treasure Island.
But then our friend Andrew, who is our cabin boy and brilliant and writes at screenrant.com, he actually proposed that Billy's darkness really started either at the beginning of the show when he lied for Flint about that blank page, or possibly before that it's been a slow rollout of darkness, but that it started either with the page or possibly when, or in the backstory that Flint tells about Billy, about killing. Which, do you feel like one of those is more significant? Do you feel like Billy's had darkness from the beginning that was kind of hiding deep down and didn't come out till later? Or do you think it's a later thing?
Yeah, I think that it's certainly not been, he's had nothing going on and then season 4 comes and then it's like Dark Billy. I think it's hard to not look at it that way sometimes, I think, because he's got the beard and he looks very sort of like angry with life in season 4. But it definitely is a gradual thing. I mean, and like you say, I think season 1, and if not before, like you say, the story that Flint tells about him, killing the people that have done those things to him. I think there's a side of Billy that I think is very dark, actually. That, he wouldn't be in this world if he didn't have things that weren't cinnamon roll-esque, that were a little bit, darker. Because, you can't survive in this world unless you have that side of you. He's a fighter. And I think when there's certain people that, I know like MMA fighters and stuff, right? And they're like the nicest guys and they're like the most loyal people. But you put them in a ring and they have this inner animal or darkness that is kind of eating away at them, that kind of comes out when they fight. And I think Billy has always had that, there's that side of him, he's lost his parents and there's a side of him that is fighting a past there. And what was brilliantly done, I think, by John and the guys, the writers, the creators with Billy, is that they have done this gradual descent into darkness. And, the torture stuff that he got, when he gets captured by the English, all the stuff with Flint on the boat. So you've got the stuff that happens obviously on his crew, and then the stuff that happens when he gets tortured. And they're all little things. I mean, I think when he turns on Dufresne, that's actually quite dark what he does there. He really is like, he's pretty cold, really.
Yes.
This is a guy that he has got close to on his crew. But I think Billy is fiercely protective of what he believes in. And generally, he protects the good of the Brotherhood, what is the best for the crew and his brothers. And this crossover into season 4, he's still doing that. That's the thing. The decisions he's making, he still feels they are for the good of his men.
Yes.
He's not like turning on these slaves on, because he wants to just be a bad guy. He genuinely feels that, he's been working this hard for this long, not for Flint to come in now and change everything and probably screw up everything for all his men. And it's not, that's the thing. I don't think he's power hungry. I don't think he has that thing that he just wants power. He's not like the other guys in terms of like, the financial gain or whatever it is they want, or to leave a legacy. He's literally like, this is what is best for my buds. This is all I care about. And the thing is, what's interesting, what's happening now is that he feels like Flint, he feels that, it's gone. It's a lost cause. He in his mind, he's still fighting the Flint of halfway through season 3. He's still fighting that same guy. He hasn't seen the change that Silver has seen. And because he still feels that Silver is his guy, he can confide in him. And actually, he didn't realize that all this stuff that he's been doing, all this guy that he's been creating, this legend, this king that he's been creating for Nassau is the guy that's going to turn on him. Yeah. Because he doesn't know that, he has no idea that Silver has been creating this amazing relationship with Flint. There's this little affair they've had. There's been going on.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom, you went there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, how, I guess I should have warned you that we were going to do this, that we were going to ask you questions about what you did years and years ago in your performance. But,
yeah.
But like how important do you think that moment with the page was for Billy? I mean, obviously that is when we started calling Billy the Kingmaker, and it, you know, which I loved the idea that he basically made Flint king after they had a whole argument basically for a whole episode about whether there should be a king at all. But how much do you think that really, like, I always saw that kind of as similar to what I just said about Dufresne, was that is that when you do something that is kind of break in your personal ethics, you're somehow bound to the person that is tied to that behavior. So the same way that Dufresne's tied to Billy because Billy encouraged him to do it, Billy is just kind of have this really, I mean, not a nice bond. Like Dufresne thought he had a nice bond. Like Billy, I feel like that was a moment where Billy had a bit of a break, and so he was kind of bound to Flint forever because Flint was the one who made him do that. Or do you think that excuse me, that his transformation was already in process anyway since he became a pirate, and so that wasn't that big a deal?
I think I mean, that's the thing. It seems that into the story where Billy is really sort of, I don't know how long he's probably been in the crew, but I think long enough. He's a bosun. He has the trust of the crew. He's obviously, had plenty of time, fighting with these guys. So he's got the trust of the men. And I think Flint knows at that point, even then in episode 1, that Billy is someone that the crew will trust. And I think that's what's hard for Billy, is that the worst possible thing he could do
was lie to his crew,
is lie to his boys. And Flint makes him do that. And I think the whole way through season 1, you can kind of see Billy looking for something wrong, looking for something to get rid of Flint, because he's got this thing hanging over him. Like when he kind of clings on to that, when he finds that note from Miranda Barlow, asking for the pardons and stuff, it's like he just clings onto it. And so the thing with the page, I think it probably is. I think that sets off. It's certainly the green light of Billy's gradual kind of descent, I suppose, especially with the Flint story, of him. I think there's parts of the story where you see he wants to start to trust Flint again. Like when he turns on Dufresne, he's going, look, at the end of the day,
right,
Flint is the right guy at this moment to take us where we need to go. He says it to Vane at the end of season 2. He says, look, whatever you want to do, it ain't going to work. Flint is the guy that's going to get us where we want to go. Right. I don't like the guy, but he's going to get us where we want to go. And I think, but that's that constant inner battle with Billy. But then the thing is, the big turning point, season 3, he sees him start to deteriorate. He sees Flint. And the thing is, when he shoots those two guys in season 3, in where we're
in the doldrums,
I think that's huge for Billy. It's like, you've just shot 2 of my guys with no real cause. That's the time when Billy goes, right, this guy, I can't handle this guy anymore. He's not the captain he was.
And yet he like forces Silver to do something about it. It's just, that was such an interesting dynamic that I
think that's because Billy fully believes in, also he believes in the pirate ranks, I suppose.
Yes.
Like it's his job, it's Silver's job to challenge the captain, right, as quartermaster. So I think Billy, and in the way that that's written is that, like, him saying, look, it's your job to do something, I will. But it's his job to do something.
Right. Okay, that totally makes sense. Right.
But that's the thing. It became such a weird kind of triangle between the 3 guys, between Billy, Silver, and Flint. And through season 4, even more so, it became like some bizarre love triangle that were kind of fighting for Silver's affections or something.
Yep.
Yes.
And it was quite interesting to play, And the thing is that I found, like, when Silver turns on him in Ep 5 of season 4, there's this like heartbreak.
Yes.
The way I felt when we shot that, I was like, we were talking because Alex was directing that episode, and Alex said, what do you reckon about when he turns and he realized, what do you think? And I was like, I think it should be heartbreak. I think he should think that, this is what he considers as like his brother, his best friend,
Yes.
But at the same time, he's just not Billy, because of his kind of narrow-mindedness on the whole Flint thing and the way he thinks about Flint. He's almost convinced himself that he's convinced Silver of this, and not even taken into account the relationship that Flint and Silver have. He's not even thought about it, and thought for a second that he would turn on him. And he's just been incredibly like narrow-minded, and that's what. So it's just utter kind of shock and heartbreak, I think.
Yes.
Okay, see, now you're making me feel bad for Billy. I've been so angry with him, and now I feel bad for him.
Don't you worry. I've been defending Billy all season long, so you don't worry. You've got someone in your corner.
It's a tricky one with him this season, because I think Billy has always been, so often has been like a quite a clear moral compass.
Yes.
You always feel like he's done the right thing, and I think it's the first time, it's certainly the first time on my Twitter feed that I've had a lot of kind of people saying, you know, someone fricking kill Billy. Like I've never had that. You know?
No, yeah.
Welcome to Hannah's world.
Exactly, right?
Oh, so, yeah.
When I think as soon as you have a place of kind of power, or as soon as you start having like real proper opinions as a character on this show, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, it's really dangerous for that character, because it can come back and bite them in the arse. And we've seen it before.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you about season 4, Billy. Do you see him, or do you think that Billy sees himself as a leader at this point, or do you think he still sees himself as just a brother? I mean, everyone is saying Billy's men, but I wonder how much he sees himself as a leader and how much he believes that he is just a brother in arms.
Let me just interrupt for 1 second to say that we've watched through episode 6, just so you know what you're allowed to talk about.
I think that, I mean, the thing is, it's so divided at the start of the season 4, you know, there's so many sections of who's leading what. And I think Billy has certainly got to a point where he feels that he is a leader of a certain force within Nassau. I think he thinks he's the one to lead that, because he says it early on that, like, I'm the one that's, you can't just come, when Flint comes back, he's like, you can't just come in here and expect to take over when I've set this whole thing up. These guys all look to me to tell them what to do, because we've succeeded so far. You know, it's like a manager coming in, you know, like it's like a manager of a company or something, and then someone else coming in, you know, the head of the district area or something coming in, right, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. You go, no. This is how we do it here. This is how we've been doing it, and it's working. And I think that's the problem, is that he hasn't got, like I said before, he hasn't got this power trip. But I think he's got carried away with being in charge of men, and he like I say, I think he's very protective of the men and what decisions are made around what happens to them. And I think when all that stuff happens at the plantation, it's just a very defining moment of like, hell no, not anymore. It's just not going to happen. I think he's fed up of Flint making these decisions. And also, they're not on the boat anymore. They're not on the ship.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's certain rules that I think Billy sticks to on the ship. It's like, we are past that now. We're past what happens on a ship. I ain't your bosun anymore.
Oh, that's true.
This is about is about lives of men, of what happens to Nassau. And I think it's a real defining moment, that at the plantation, because he's so much more than a bosun now.
Yes,
I know. I was just so disappointed in him as the son of, you know, of political people, just that he, and it totally works for his character, right? He chooses his men over general morality.
Sure.
But that I was just very sad that the son of levelers would make this choice that would be so cause so much pain to very innocent people.
Yeah, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe because of the route he's taken and the piracy world and everything, I think maybe the leadership role, whatever it is, and how close he's become to these guys has blinded him to that a little bit. Maybe he has lost his moral compass there. You know, I do think he has. Like I say, I think he's become very narrow-minded. He has one thing in his mind, and I think it's very hard to break him. He seems quite stubborn. Like even in episode 4 or 5, no, episode 5, sorry, when he's trying to convince Silver. When I was I remember when me and Luke were talking about it and stuff, and I was like, Billy's so set on this. You know, he's just not even, he's not even thinking about, he's not asking any questions to Silver. He's saying, you got to do this. You just got to do it. Okay. Forget about that. You just got to do this. You got to do it. And when it's like, I've when you have conversations with people that are so set in their ways like that, very, very dangerous place to be, because you can't see outside the box at all. You know, you can't he's not able to take a step back and see the bigger picture. And that ultimately screws him, because he hasn't seen what's actually going on around him, which is Silver and Flint are much closer than he believes.
Well, and Maddie, and the Maddie factor.
And Maddie, yeah. I mean, huge one with Maddie, yeah.
So it's like Silver's got Flint Sr. and Flint Jr. at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah, the whole Maddie situation is a whole other thing that he's thought about. And there's that moment where he says in episode, is it 4, I think?
Where Billy talks about Maddie being in danger from Flint.
Yeah. And saying like she's the one most at risk. And he is right there.
He's totally right.
Yeah. He's not wrong when he says that, but it's also a very, very dangerous thing to say.
It's a dangerous thing to say.
Yes. Yes, it sounded very close to a threat.
It did.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, he's the thing is, I always say with Billy, like he does have, I think, you know, in one of the past, maybe he's had morals and all this sort of thing, and he's a great warrior. You know, he fights. Yes. You know, he's a great crewman. He's a brother, but I don't think he's the sharpest tool in the box when it comes to in terms of relationships and how dynamics are working. I think Silver is so clever, and I think Flint is so clever at realizing where people are where they sit within a group and the dynamic. And I think Billy, as it comes through in season 4, I think he sees one thing. I don't think he can really assess. I think he assessed really what's happened, and that's his downfall.
Yeah. You know, we talked about that, I think, in the podcast. We talked about how Billy is, I believe, doing his best and what he believes is the best for his men.
Yeah.
But he's just not always very good at it. He's just,
yeah.
When he's in this leadership role, he doesn't have that same, like the way you see Flint, people just fall into line behind Flint. They can't help themselves. There's this magnetic force where he just is a general, a captain, a commander in a way that Billy is a brother who has loyalty,
right?
But it's a loyalty rather than a leadership, which is beautiful when he's a quartermaster, when he's a bosun, but now on the island has been.
It makes someone like Jacob Garrett sacrifice himself for Billy's sake.
Yes.
So the relationships are strong, but there isn't this just everyone, again, like that whole thing that Flint and Silver, like that thing about when we work together, people just can't really deny us. Like they never, right.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It's a dangerous force.
Yes, it is.
And it's hard for Billy to fight against that. I mean,
yes.
They are aware that Billy has influence and stuff now, I think, you know, but I think they also know that together they won't be forced out.
Right.
You know, Flint and Silver it's so, but that's the thing. I don't think Billy's seen that. I don't think Billy's seen how good they are, because I mean the things that happened at the you know, I think that at the Maroon Camp, they've created this relationship that Billy's just not even seen.
Yes.
He doesn't know about it, you know.
But even if he had seen it, I think he still would have been threatened by it. I mean, I don't think it's like he would have seen. I mean, that definitely caught him off guard, but I don't think it's like he would have seen it and he would have been like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is great. This is what I need."
It may have certainly. I think it would definitely have affected his choice of making Silver king or doing that story. That story.
Oh yeah.
I think because he's left them at a time where he feels that him and Silver have got this relationship, and he's like, Silver's my guy. I know that he's going to do this. He is the one that has the clout to pull this off. And I just think he assumes that Silver's just going to just fall in line and go along with it with him, and he's going to be his guy. I just didn't even expect for a second that, because the thing is, the last time they saw each other, Silver and Billy saw each other, Silver was they were having conversations about potentially how they're going to get rid of Flint. That was the last thing they said to each other.
Right. No, for sure.
So in Billy's mind, that's where they left it. So he's like, what the hell happened?
I know.
This is where we were.
I know. We always say this in the podcast. Like we kind of, we're like, characters, have you not been watching this show that we watch? Like things change really quickly, really, really quickly. Right. Yeah. If you're not with someone for a few days, you should just assume that they're a whole different person.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Imagine if you just watched season 1 and then watched a few episodes of season 1, and then you turned on and then saw season 4. I'd look; they wouldn't even know it was me.
No,
they're a completely different person.
When Billy first
same
comes
as Luke
out.
is like,
oh my god,
me and Luke look like two fresh-faced boys in season 1 in comparison to season 4.
Yep, y'all were super cute and not at all dark.
It's so true.
or the darkness was deep down, just coated with a whole lot of sweetness.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I think I commented on.
What?
Yes. He said so much cinnamon to get through.
Yeah, not Silver. We never actually believed for a minute that Silver was a good person. He doesn't.
Oh, no.
It's funny because now he's a good person. It's almost, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of relationships like this, and I think Billy kind of has this both with Flint and Silver. It's almost like there's only so much of a certain personality trait that can exist. And so sometimes one of you goes in one direction, the other one has to go in the opposite direction, because it's like Liz just said when we were talking about episode 6, she said, oh my God, is Flint now our cinnamon roll? Because he's being so gentle and sweet and thoughtful and caring to everyone in episode 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that what's happened? It's just like the cinnamon roll quotient had to go somewhere. So if Billy's losing it, it has to go to Flint.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with...
there has to be like this balance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Not everyone can be a dick.
Right. Well, okay, no, it's Black Sails. Everyone can be a dick, actually.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
There are no white knights. It's true. Yeah. No white hats, I guess.
Red. Billy was
the closest was Billy.
Yeah.
Well, and we even talked about in the costuming, like he was the white shirt guy, not a white hat, but a white shirt guy. And when we first saw him come out in season 4 in black, I gasped.
Yep. Yeah, there was a big thing about the costume and the costume change and the gear shift with Billy, the beard and him just looking generally more, I guess, darker.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, and other
slightly more damaged, I suppose. Like he's just a bit more damaged. He's gone. He's like I think they wanted to feel that Billy had really seen some serious shit, during this period that he'd been, fighting the resistance. I think he
and done some serious shit.
Yeah. And
so wait, can you clear up for us? Those two guys, when Billy and Flint, when Billy's taking Flint to see Miranda's house, you'll have to, you don't know this about me, but like the whole getting to Miranda's house and Billy and his men just all over the place and the broken teacup and just like the ruin of Miranda. It's really, I'm one of those people who's just like, nothing else bothered me in that episode. I'm just like, the teacup, what have they done to Miranda's house? I'm one of those people. But, those two guys hanging, that was Billy, right? Like those two guys, like that he used to...
he's responsible for that.
Thank you. Like this was like, we had this whole conversation. I was like, no, he's talking about two guys who were traitors. And then you see these two guys who like, I don't even know what Billy did to them, but it looks horrible.
Yeah, because me and Toby actually talked about this. And when we were walking through there, and we wanted to feel that Flint sees a real change in Billy at that point. More so than anything, Billy's quite almost blasé about the fact that he's hung these two guys. He's just sort of, it's very matter of fact.
Yes.
And we sort of really wanted that to kind of hit home for the audience and for Flint, and almost seeing it through Flint's eyes, I suppose. This change, this deep change that had happened, because I think that's the epitome of what's been going on. That's sort of a very clear sign of what Billy's been dealing with his men. He's been dealing with potential traitors and having to punish them severely, hanging them. The ultimate punishment. So I think it's that this fight they've been dealing with it's not one for the faint-hearted. They've been at war.
Mm-hmm.
They've been fully at war. And I think Billy maybe sees it a little bit like Flint and Silver. They've been out at sea. They've been, whatever they've been doing, he just feels like it's nothing to what they've been dealing with. And I think I think he feels fed up. I really feel like he feels like he's over it. And all he can look for now is to try and get Nassau back and look after his men. And, I think this whole thing that he's created as Silver he's hanging on to that. He's really clinging on to that to be the thing to get him there. And I think that's why he's almost like clutching at straws. I think when he comes back and Silver's back and he sees that Silver is maybe not fully on board, I think he panics. And he's like, you have to do this. This is what I've been working towards. This is everything.
And there's no plan B.
There is no plan B. Exactly. I think that's what he has. I mean, I think Silver, that's the difference. Silver always has a plan B. Potentially it's plan C and D. He always has something underneath the skin to bring out later on if he needs to. Whereas I think Billy, he gets very set on this plan.
Yeah, right. Very single-minded.
I think he's very good at executing the plan. I think he's done it very well, but he's not got a plan B.
Right.
This is what screws him, I think.
Oh, poor Billy. Okay, look at me. Now I feel bad for him. That's it. You've done it to me, Tom.
Excellent.
I feel bad for Billy now.
Don't feel too bad.
Yeah,
no.
When the one showing sympathy for Billy and for Woodes Rogers too throughout, and trying to
I'm in charge.
They are complex characters,
right? I'm in charge of sympathy for Eleanor. That's my job.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Sympathy for Eleanor when no one else does. Yes.
Yes. I'm now I'm out of a job.
As an audience member, I think it's quite hard to have sympathy for her because I know I find that she's pretty fickle in a lot of ways.
She is.
So it's quite.
I also love Flint. I mean, I just love the damaged people.
Everybody loves Flint.
Well, that's true. And I find that interesting, actually, that everyone loves Flint and doesn't love Eleanor. Like, I think both of them are people who do bad things and think that they're doing good things, and they're really, really both very much motivated by their own internal damage.
Sure.
Yeah. I think the thing is with Flint as well. I mean, I find that because the performance of Flint, I love the performance of Flint by Toby so much.
Oh my God.
Even when he's doing really bad shit on the show and he's like killing people and he's morally, he's off the chart, he's just not even there. I still can't help but root for him.
Right. No, it's incredible. I mean, that's the thing we always talk about is that the moment for many people, the moment they fall in love with Black Sails for real, like you can like Black Sails, but the moment you truly fall in love with Black Sails is when Flint kills Gates.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, holy shit, this guy's killing my favorite guy. And I feel so bad for the one doing the killing. And then you can't help yourself. That's it. You're like, it's almost like that thing. It's like he took you down this totally morally shaky place. And then now you belong to him the same way that Billy belonged to him after the page. Like I belong to Flint because somehow I watched him kill Gates and I felt bad for Flint.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
My soul belongs to Flint from that moment on.
And some of it, I think, is the writing and the storytelling of the writing. But I think that you're absolutely right, Tom. I think a lot of it is Toby Stephens' performance of it. He shows so much vulnerability in Flint in those moments.
Yeah, well, that's what I love is like when you get him on his own and you see the real human, and you see all those emotions and you see the vulnerability. He's such a strong rock in front of his men, or certainly tries to be, and like you say, has this kind of magnetic force that they just do what he says. And when you get him on his own, like after he's killed the two guys in season 3 and the doldrums, and he goes in his cabin, it's like, my God, like he's suffering, and you
so much
suffering with him, I think. And that's the thing, as an audience member, you are on his journey.
Yes.
And you're feeling his emotions, so that's why you're kind of going, "Come on, man, get it together! Come on, like pull these men together."
Yes.
Billy's not right.
Well, I mean, that's the beautiful thing is that Billy and Flint often are both right in their own ways. Sure. And then season 4, like all of those scenes, Billy and Silver are both right.
Yeah. Well, this is what I think the brilliance of the writing is like we create such kind of divide with, Team Flint, Team Billy, Team Silver, whatever it is. Uh-huh. Like the team that what was great was the Team Vane, Team Flint thing that was going on through season 2.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And
then Billy went and messed that up and got them into coalition.
It's just opinions.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. No, absolutely.
Which is great because if you can create that in a show, I think that's brilliant because so often you have the good guys and the bad guys in everything.
Yes.
And it's just so not that black and white in Black Sails. And I love that. And I love performing that. I loved being a part of a show where the actors are discussing it and the actors are all going, yeah, but see, like Vane did this though, and like, oh, Billy's doing this and that's not on, or but he's got a point here though, and that that's correct. And it's so enjoyable because it just means that the writing is so good.
Yes.
Like, they're so clever at their writing. I mean, I really feel like quite gifted as an actor, in my first few years of acting to have been a part of a show like Black Sails with the writing quality and the production values. I feel like truly honoured because it's just a gift as an actor to have that.
Yeah, I think we both obviously think that the story and the show is just unparalleled. There's nothing else like it. There hasn't been anything else like it. So it's going to leave a pretty massive gap in our lives here shortly. But,
a big hole.
I'm in denial about that.
Yeah.
So wait, I have a question for you about Billy and Flint. So let's say, you were talking about how Flint kills these two guys and that was a big deal for Billy, but then we, the audience, get to see Flint like lose it when he's alone, right? And Flint definitely does that. He definitely eventually he lets Silver in to his, and that is what turns Silver. I mean, that's the thing that makes Silver be devoted to him as a person and not just as, whatever it was that Silver saw him as before, which is we defined as some weird combination of a threat and kind of a godlike figure. Was there something, maybe not that, like maybe seeing vulnerability, but maybe saying, is there something that Flint could have done that would have changed Billy's mind, that would have made Billy
funny you asked that because I always thought, I was like, if Flint would actually take Billy aside and tell him the truth, Billy would understand.
Yeah.
I fully believe that Billy would understand why he did it. He wouldn't necessarily still like him for the decisions he's made, but I think it wouldn't have got so extreme and it wouldn't have got to the point where, because, communication, like in any of these relationships, you look at it to the most extreme points, but you look at it in life generally. If you do not communicate, things go badly wrong. Things explode. And communication is key. And that's why I think the relationship was saved between Silver and Flint, because they communicated. And that communication never happened between Billy and Flint.
Yeah,
I think that was a real problem because I genuinely believe that if that had have happened, and also I feel that, like in season 2, when Billy goes to talk to Flint before the Dufresne thing happens, when Billy's been offered pardons, he goes and talks to Flint and they have a conversation. It's not a nice conversation necessarily. It's Billy sort of laying down the law and saying, look, you're not going to do that to me, but I'm with you. I understand what you want and I'm with you. And they communicated and they had this conversation. They understood where they each, stood on the whole thing. And I think because Billy only saw the bad stuff that Flint did, he only saw him killing his men. He only saw him putting the crew in complete peril. He only sees Flint coming in, trying to take over and screwing up Billy's whole plan.
Right.
He's only seeing these one-sided parts of Flint. So if you look at it purely from Billy's point of view of what he sees Flint as, it doesn't surprise me that he wants him gone.
Of course.
No, of course.
It's like if you look at it from the point of view of Flint and Silver, you go, oh, well, Billy's well in the wrong. But he's like, well, yeah, but Billy doesn't know these things. He doesn't know. He hasn't been told any of them. Yeah. But at the same time, I think that maybe Billy should have been the one to say something. Maybe he should have gone to Flint and said, like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
But I think because they've always had that kind of divide, they've never been able to have that. They've never been able to have that close conversation.
Flint did kill his pirate daddy.
This is the thing. That's what I mean. I think that, like, that's when they had that conversation in season 2. It was like, look, this shit happened. I get it. I don't like you for it, but you are the best captain at this point.
Right. No, and I love that Billy, I thought that was a great moment for Billy. I mean, all through the end of season 2, up until when he convinces Vane. Like, that's incredible that he's able to see past. But
that's how much, I think that's the thing, that's how much the pirate world matters to him. I think that how much, beating civilization, beating the English, and the pirate world being the thing that prevails. I think that's what that's what's stronger than anything for Billy, and Flint being the number one guy to take them there at that point, and like you say, like he feels so strongly that he'll completely resist Vane over it.
Yes.
I don't know. It's a tricky one because there's so many dynamics to those relationships. You can delve so deep into because it's tiny, tiny little decisions. The tiny little things that happen throughout each season and each scene. I mean, we could have even the way you shoot scenes, the way you act a scene can change the way, because the writing's so delicate.
Yes.
The tiniest little thought change in the way that or the way they edit it, can really differ the way that the audience are gonna see a relationship. It can be the tiniest little thing, and I think it's been really quite cleverly crafted, really, all the way through.
Absolutely, it has.
I've not actually seen. I've only seen 2 episodes of season 4.
Oh, no way!
Yeah,
we've seen more than you have.
yeah. So I've acted in them. I know how they go in terms of when I did them, but I've not actually seen the final edit, so I don't know these key moments and stuff. I'm wondering how they've come across, and it's interesting seeing people's reactions because I'm only thinking it from the point of view of when we acted it. So I don't know. Like I say, when about being heartbroken when I turn around, I don't know which version of that they've used. Where I might look like, I don't know, more pissed off or, whatever it is.
Well, we did call Billy I told you this already. We did compare Billy to a petulant teenager.
A surly teenager.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. There's definitely an element of that to him.
Yeah. We just watched, and I loved the moment where Billy says to Silver, "You made your choice. Live with it." That was heartbreaking for both of them. I think that's what came across to me anyways, that they had, that their friendship had been severed now, that there was no...
Yeah, there's no coming back from that. Yeah, and I think that's what's great about Silver's, Luke's performance in episode 5 actually is, and actually I suppose in when he did 6 as well, but the how hard it was on him to make that final decision to turn on Billy. That it was, he is one of his friends, and he's gone through a lot with him, and Billy supported him. If it wasn't, for certain things, Billy could have seen Silver gone a long time ago.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And I think all those things were going through Luke's head, and there were some brilliant performances, like when we were acting it, that he was finding it very hard to make that decision, and just very delicately done, I thought, and it was very good. And but once that decision's been made, he knows that's Billy's a fair guy, I suppose, but I think that is that's a final straw for him. And I don't obviously want to say anything now in terms of what's going on from episode 6.
Please don't tell us.
So, I won't say any more.
John will have to come and kill all of us if you do.
He will, yeah. He'll definitely come and put me on the plank for that one, for sure. He'll kill me. He'll definitely kill me.
Walk the plank, I like that.
But yeah, it's this is the thing. This is the crazy world of Black Sails, that especially the way it's going. Through season 4, it's just everyone's everyone's screwed in a lot of ways. They're all screwing each other over now. It's become such a dark world, and it feels like the beginning of the end of piracy in a way. Well, certainly for Nassau. It's like It just feels like there's this inner fighting going on, which just means it can't survive.
See, it's like I keep saying, everyone should just be listening to Max. Everyone should just listen to Max.
Yeah.
They're all just self-destructive and just going to destroy.
They just get hypnotized by a French accent. No one can listen to her properly. What she's saying, I don't even know what she's saying. She's mesmerizing. She could be saying something really important right now. I don't even know.
You ended up covering a lot of my questions.
I noticed that just organically. That was wonderful.
I know.
Oh,
Tom, you're amazing at this.
Yeah, you're very good at this. You make our job really easy.
Yeah, for real. Well, I have a kind of half-formed thought. There's been this comparison between Billy and Vane, which I have found fascinating, but I haven't formed that into a proper question. But I do feel like there's this interest. I mean, of course, there's the beautiful scene. Oh, people are going to hate me for calling it beautiful, but there is the beautiful scene of the hanging and the connection between Billy and Vane. Beautiful. One of my it's really
connection.
Yeah, it's huge, and so I just found this kind of mini arc of the Vane Billy relationship, even though they're not together that much between the end of season 2 and the end of season 3, but I felt like this was this really interesting parallel that happened. Like, they are the two proper pirates, right? So there's Vane, who has this kind of inner purity. Like, we always talk about this. Like, he does not compromise. He's not a good person, obviously, but in a way he kind of almost never falls into this darkness that the Walrus crew ends up all in turn having. Right. It's like he never compromises himself. He's not angelic. He's not good, but he stays true to himself. And I just think it's really interesting because Billy, I feel like, is the character closest to Vane, at least textually. Like, Vane makes the comparison, and yet this is the big deal: is that the difference is that Vane never compromises himself, but Billy does. And I don't know where I'm going with this question, but I find this comparison's fascinating.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because I think, well, the thing is with Billy and Vane, right, and I think it comes out in that scene they do in the season 2 after they've had the scrap. They've had a bit of a fight, and there's kind of this stalemate fight. And I think that's quite a
bit of a fight, a physical fight, and then a mental fight.
A bit of a bashing, which was an amazing fight to shoot. Me and Zach had a really good time, because we're both physical guys as well. So me and Zach really got properly involved in that fight and did everything ourselves. And and it's interesting that me and Zach almost have like a similar thing as Vane and Billy. There's this kind of like mutual respect, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And I think Billy and Vane, like you say, they're both proper pirates. And I think Vane says it to Billy when he comes in. He says, you're true to the pirate cause. I think he says that's why he wants him on his crew and stuff. And I think there's no doubt.
Loyal to a fault.
And loyal to a fault, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Billy sees the same thing in Vane, no matter what he thinks of him personally. And this is the whole thing with piracy, I think, that you put your personal things aside. If you truly care about the pirate cause, you put your personal feelings or whatever that person's like, you have to put it aside for the cause and for the oath. It's all about the oath. And I think when that scene happens at the end of season 3 with the hanging, it's the ultimate for Billy. I think he feels that he couldn't have more respect for the guy at that point. I think he's just like, he knows that Vane wants to do this, has to do this for the good of the pirate oath, for what it means for Nassau. And the fact that he wants to do it, Billy he has to let him. And I think Billy probably feels a massive weight on his shoulders at that point to carry that on. Of course, he's started it for him. Vane's basically in a silent monologue, is saying, "Look, I'm giving you the opportunity. Finish it.
Yep.
Make sure it gets done." And I think he probably feels that pressure to get that. And maybe that's in the back of his head, and all this stuff season 4 with Silver. Maybe that's the thing that's turned him dark. Maybe that's the thing. He's like got this pressure. He's going to feel this weight on his shoulders of this guy died.
I like that.
So I could do this. So we could start this.
Right. There's no quitting.
No, that's true. And Billy has that, and Flint and Silver don't have that. They weren't there.
They weren't there. Yeah, they didn't see that. They know, they hear about it, but they don't have that.
Right. It's different.
That connection. I think he's got that. Billy may have that visual in his mind of Vane hanging there and knowing what it means. And it's maybe he is more affected by that than he lets on, I suppose. Maybe that's something that's really driving him. And I think there's a huge part, I think, of Billy, like in season 4, when this stuff happens with Silver and when events occur and he gets beaten up and he's there, there's just utter feeling of failure. I think he just feels like he's failed. He had something that he wanted to finish and he hasn't been able to finish it.
Right. And we've now just left episode 6. We don't know where Billy is.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, so Flint said, "I'm not going to leave anyone behind," and yet we didn't actually see Billy.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't actually talk about that last night, Liz. We don't actually know where Billy is.
Now is where's Billy and what does Billy do? What does Billy want? Yeah.
Right.
I'm so
because who's he got exactly? Who's left?
All right. I forgot to bring that up last night when we were. I was like Ben Gunn.
There was a lot to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about.
And this is the thing. Yeah. Yes, it's great that Ben Gunn comes in because I think that's what's brilliant is that Gunn is another kind of Garrett. Really, he's one of Billy's boys, and I think no matter what, Ben Gunn knows that he has to go with the crowd. He has to be the one. He has to go along with everyone else to go to Silver, but. He's another one of those who has this loyalty towards Billy, I think. So,
right.
It's kind of
he is a survivor. Right.
He's a survivor, absolutely.
Right, because we know he survived his own crew, so we know that he's going to make survival choices.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, so he knows. I think he knows how it works.
Yeah. I have a feeling he knows how a lot of things work. And, we do know, again, not that Treasure Island is any sort of roadmap for understanding these characters, but, he is one of those. So I wanted to ask you about fight styles. Toby told us that on the show, everyone's fight styles were very kind of designed to be about their character. So what would you say about Billy's fight style that is related to his character? See, now Liz and I have been talking about a lot. We since Toby saw that, I felt like Liz was always way more focused on fight choreography than me, but now I really look at it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, what's interesting I always put with Billy is that he's a big guy, so they always wanted me to have an axe or things that were fairly sort of suited my stature, I suppose.
Right.
Your
physique helps, I'm sure.
Say again?
I'm sorry, I quoted. It's silly. Go on.
No, please. I'm intrigued.
Okay,
now.
I'm sorry. I have another podcast that's Disney Princess Deathmatch, and so it was from Frozen. I said your physique helps, I'm sure.
Ah, yes, I know this line. We watch this all the time.
Exactly.
Helps, I'm sure. Yeah. What's hilarious about that line in Frozen? I'm like, what were they
just out of nowhere?
Because it's almost like quietly in the background, but you hear it. I said to my missus, I was like, did she just say your physique helps? I'm sure. What's that? What's he talking about? What are they talking about in that instant? What does he do that his physique helps it? I'm sure. Bizarre.
The world may never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that.
I want the writers of Frozen to come back with an answer to that one.
Well, aren't they? They are doing a sequel, but I don't think they're going to answer that. That was,
Are they doing a sequel? Are they?
I think they are, right, Liz? Liz knows better than me.
I don't know.
My 6 a.m. starts will start with Frozen 2 now. Oh god.
I know how that goes. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Now I want you in a Disney movie. And
Definitely.
Okay, we're going to start a campaign. Tom Hopper, Disney Prince. Yeah.
I would actually. You know what? I'd love to. I'd love to do a voiceover for like Pixar or a Disney movie.
Oh yeah.
I would love to do that. Yeah. That's something I would definitely want to tick off the bucket list for sure.
All right, Fathoms Deep fans, get working on that on Twitter, please.
Thank you.
How you get things done, right?
Okay, so Tom, tell us about your movie Leopard. I'm really excited about that. Liz and I have not watched it because I think I told you at New York Comic Con, I'm like really trying to keep each of you as your Black Sails character until the end of Black Sails, and then we are going to watch Leopard.
Yes, well, Leopard is to Billy and a very different character to many of the things I've played before. So my friend, one of my best friends, Owen Macken, we were on a TV show called Merlin together.
Yes, I watched Merlin with my daughter.
So we were on Merlin. We played 2 of the Knights of the Round Table. We became very close, as I did with all the other boys on that show. And Owen is also a director and a writer, and produces his own stuff. And at that point, he was like starting to get going and writing stuff. And we got chatting, and we had like a period of Merlin. There was a lot of time on Merlin where we were, stood in the background a lot. We weren't the kind of key characters, so we weren't the key storyline and stuff. And we had a lot of time on our hands to sort of fill, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And we got talking about the kind of characters we'd like to play in our careers and what would be like our dream roles and stuff. And I always said, I'd love to play a character like Lenny in Mice and Men, because it gives me, so much more depth than just the big guy at the back or, the muscly guy sort of thing. I want to show something that my height and my stature and stuff can hopefully show off more of my acting capabilities,
Yes.
And, just with more depth, I suppose. And anyway, Owen just sort of went off and came back like a few weeks later and was like, I've written this script.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And I was like, all right. And he's like, it's about 2 brothers. I just want you to read it. So I read it and I was like, this is brilliant. I love it. I love it. Oh. And it's kind of like I'd say it's like a cross between Mice and Men and like East of Eden.
Wow.
And it's quite a dark, I would call it, I mean, me and Owen always talk about what kind of film it is. And I would call it like a psychological thriller in a lot of ways. It's very hard to talk about it, the storyline. It's about it's about a dysfunctional relationship between 2 brothers, emotional roller coaster in a lot of ways. But you can't really say too much about it until you watch it, because there's many twists and turns. There's lots of like psychological elements to it.
All right, Liz, I propose that we watch it after Black Sails and that we do a podcast about it.
I'm in.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
Yep.
In fact, if you really want to, we could get me and Owen on for the podcast. That'd be great.
Okay, let's do that.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. We just made a second date with Tom Hopper, and I'm happy about it. Tom, before I let you go, though, we talked about our pastry game, and I promised everyone that you were going to pick the winner. I forgot about that. Okay.
You know which one I really loved?
Oh, I was going to have you. We were going to do this as a drawing, but you can tell me which one. Tell me which one you really love.
Oh no, we should. Yeah, we should do it that way. That would be fair.
Because that person's going to no, but you can tell us
you're
which
such a
one
Billy. I like that.
Tell us which one you really loved, and then we'll have you do the drawing. Because that is generally how we do our prizes, is we do them as drawings.
That's true.
But tell us which one you really loved. Okay.
So I loved the chocolate. Is it like a fondant one, or the chocolate fondant, or which one was it?
A molten lava cake, I think.
Yeah, the molten lava cake. I really like that. Gradually, it's just been prodded and prodded and prodded, and then it's just oozed out. I really like that. That image is great.
Yes,
okay, well,
that's darling.
So that's yes. Well, that's the bonus for. Wait, now I don't remember who said that. Who said the lava cake? I have that on a different page. Lava cake person, be happy. I have that on a different page. I'm not on that page right now. So
congratulations. Well done. Well done, lava cake person.
Yes. Well done. Proper podcaster. I'm doing a great job right now.
Also, have we sent you the picture that one of our listeners did of you in the bathtub for me?
Oh my God, yes.
No,
we have to send him that.
Thank you.
It's
yeah,
hysterical.
That sounds very intriguing.
Yeah, who made that for you? Was that Megan?
I think it was Megan. I think it was. Yeah.
So Tom, Jesse, also you should check out our friend Megan. She also has a Twitter account called Rackham Reactions, where she does really gorgeous gifs of Jack Rackham's. Basically,
I mean, there's got to be some great ones on there, right?
Jack Rackhamness, yes. So I'll message that one to you. But okay, but for the drawing, you need to pick a number between 1 and 31.
23.
23. And that is actually one of the ones I read to you. That is Suru. That's our Silver Sue of Shandy wins a prize that we will send you, darling. So,
which one did she say?
She said, he's a day-old donut that's fallen on the floor.
Right. Oh,
Still looks good enough to brush off and enjoy, but should you?
That's a good one. Yeah,
all right.
That's a good one.
Oh, that makes me happy.
So congratulations, Sue. Tom, you're fabulous.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on. It's been great.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, we'll contact you after we're done with Black Sails so we can talk about Leopard. That'll be really fun.
Very excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be so much fun. I mean, dark, but fun.
It's still, it's dark. It may not be as fun, but it'll be dark.
Well,
it could be kind of fun. I mean, it's Black Sails always fun.
Right. We're fans of Black Sails. You know who you're talking to right now. All right, sweetie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I loved it.
All right. Take care.
All right, ladies. Take care.
Good night, Tom. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, that was delightful. He is a sweet, sticky cinnamon roll after all, I think.
Pretty much.
That warm, gooey center. So, until next time, from Common Room Radio, I am Liz Stevens.
And I'm Daphne Olive.
Fathoms Deep is a Common Room Radio production. For more information and access to other programs, please visit us at commonroomradio.com. To show your support, pledges of as little as $1 a month can be made to patreon.com/commonroomradio. Join the conversation by using the hashtag FathomsDeep and follow us on Twitter at BlackSalesCast. We ask that you keep your tweets respectful and positive, and please avoid spoilers. If you have more to say, we want to hear it in all its spoiler glory. Email us at podcast@commonroomradio.com with Fathoms Deep in the subject line. Thanks for listening. Yes.
All right, Liz, I would like for you to talk to me just by yourself real quickly. I'm just checking everyone's sound. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you want me to say, but I'm chatting here as I'm trying to find you guys again because I just pulled up. Okay,
You're good.
Where are you?
All right, now, Tom, Liz was very upset with me for not having Zach say something interesting. Liz, tell Tom what you would like him to say for the sound check.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, see, you gave me shit for it.
That's right. Now I'm all thrown off because I have lost my.
See?
I've lost my image of both of you. So there you are. Okay,
all right,
good.
Tom, just say something to me.
Hello, Daphne. You look as lovely as you sound.
Oh no! Now you have to say that to Liz. Actually, please, Tom, please say that to Liz. Do me a favor.
Liz, you look even more lovely than you sound.
Oh, well, isn't that sweet?